It is imperative that we have a president, starting on day one, who can begin to solve our problems, tackle these challenges, and seize the opportunities.
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good.
What we do here is go back.
To believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
A few moments later.
We have a new president-elect. His name is Donald J. Trump. So, move over Barack, move over Hillary, Harry, Jill, and all you namby-pamby, pathetic losers still crying in your grande double-shot skinny lattes.
I said what I said.
Clinton Senator Obama has said that he favors allowing illegal immigrants to obtain driver's licenses, and you opposed that idea.
Senator Clinton, I just want to make sure what I heard. Do you, the New York Senator Hillary Clinton, support the New York governor's plan to give illegal immigrants a driver's license? You told the National New Hampshire paper it made a lot of sense. Do you support his plan?
You know, Tim, this is where everybody plays gotcha. It makes a lot of sense. What is the governor supposed to do? He is dealing with a serious problem. We have failed, and George Bush has failed. Do I think this is the best thing for any governor to do? No.
Your record and what you say does matter. And when it comes to a lot of the issues that are important in this race, it is sometimes difficult to understand what Senator Obama has said, because as soon as he is confronted on it, he says that's not what he meant.
I don't have a mixed record on immigration.
And I am, adamantly against illegal immigrants.
I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in.
People have to stop employing illegal immigrants.
That we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have.
Thousands of children come across, shunted off into makeshift shelters.
It's horrible.
Hard choice. Let them stay in the United States or send them back.
Well, they should be sent back. Just because your child gets across the border, that doesn't mean the child gets to stay.
You defended President Obama's immigration policies. Now you say they're too harsh. Will you say anything to get elected?
In many parts of our country, because of employers who exploit undocumented workers and drive down wages, there are job losses. And I think we should be honest about that. There are people who have been pushed out of jobs in factories and meat processing plants and all kinds of settings. And I meet them. You know, I was in Atlanta last night, and an African-American man said to me, I used to have a lot of construction jobs. And now it just seems like the only people who get them anymore are people who are here without documentation.
A few moments later.
I'm not sure. When my parents, they have a rule of deportation, I'm scared for them because how the deportation, I'm scared that they're going to deport me.
Here, come here, baby.
Okay.
I'm going to do everything I can so you don't have to be scared. And you don't have to worry about what happens to your dad or somebody else in your family. I feel really, really strongly that you're being very brave. And you have to be brave for them too. Because they want you to be happy. They want you to be successful. They don't want you to worry too much. Let me do the worrying. I'll do all the worrying. Is that a deal? I'll do the worry. I'll do everything I can to help, okay?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message. They should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who responsible adults and their families are, because there are concerns.
If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half-century. What's going to happen is you are going to pay a significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But after you've done these things over a certain period of time, you can earn your citizenship, so that it's not something that is guaranteed or automatic. You've got to earn it, but over time, you give people an opportunity. Now, it only works, though, if you do all the pieces. I think the American people, they appreciate and believe in immigration, but they can't have a situation where you just have 500,000 people pouring over the border without any kind of mechanism to control it. So we've got to deal with that at the same time as we deal in a humane fashion with folks who have put down roots here, have become our neighbors, have become our friends. They may have children who are U.S. citizens. That's the kind of comprehensive approach that we have to take.
It is imperative that we have a president, starting on day one, who can begin to solve our problems, tackle these challenges, and seize the opportunities.
I honestly don't think they'll do it with other countries.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes. I don't think there's any question, and there's no question in my mind. I think right now would be an oil-rich nation, and I believe that we should have done it, and I'm very disappointed that we didn't do it, and I don't think anybody would have held us in abeyance. I don't think anybody would have been angry with us, and we had every right to do it at the time. I think we've lost the opportunity.
For some people, the ultimate goal in life has been becoming the President of the United States. Would you like to be the President of the United States?
I really don't believe I would, Ronna, but I would like to see somebody as the President who could do the job, and there are very capable people in this country.
Most people who are capable are not running for office. Most men are frightened of politics today.
It is a shame, isn't it?
Yes.
It is a shame. The most capable people are not necessarily running for political office, and that is a very sad commentary on the country. They had major corporations and they had this and that, but they are not running for political office.
Why wouldn't someone like yourself run for political office? You have all the money that you possibly need. You've accomplished a great deal, even though you are only 34. I know there's a lot of things that you possibly can do in the years ahead. Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life, and I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular, wouldn't necessarily have a chance of getting elected against somebody with no great brain but a big smile. And that's a sad commentary for the political process.
Television, in a strange way, has ruined that process, hasn't it?
It's hurt the process very much. I mean, the Abraham Lincolns of the world. Abraham Lincoln would probably not be electable today because of television. He was not a handsome man, and he did not smile at all. He would not be considered to be a prime candidate for the presidency, and that's a shame, isn't it?
But if all the men are like you, then when are we going to get somebody who might be good?
I don't know. I hope it's around the corner, but I don't know. I really don't know. What I would like to be involved in is trying to help choose somebody.
I will say this, what you said on the border is right. You know, we had the safest border in the history of our country when I left office. We had the safest border. In fact, the famous chart that I was turning right, fortunately, to look at showed the lowest, that was made up by the Border Patrol, and it was the best number in terms of drugs, in terms of people, meaning the fewest people. We had it down to an absolute science, and then it became a rocket ship right after that, and it was a shame. But the We had a great border situation. It was only going to get better, but we had it down to a real size. We had to remain in Mexico. We had all sorts of things. People couldn't come into our country until they got past it. They have to go through really rigorous tests. And it was a great thing, and now it's truly one of the great problems, one of the big problems. No country has been invaded like we've been invaded. If you look at what's going on in Ohio and Colorado and so many states, and a lot of states that don't want to talk about it yet because they're embarrassed by it, but they're being invaded by people from jails and by gang members, and we have people coming in from mental institutions, and we have terrorists coming in at a level that we've never seen before. It's crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever why they aren't closing the border. They can do it with a phone call. You close the border.
Mr. President.
Has to close.
Kamala's been promising on day one, I'll do this. And for basically 4 years, she's promised this day one. Yeah. What will you do on day one to turn this country around?
So she is saying when she gets in, she's in now. And especially with Biden, because, I mean, he's not in the best of shape. But you know what? She's in there now. She can do anything she wants. And she's still saying, if you elect me, I'll do this, I'll do... Why didn't she do it? Here's my one question. It's the easiest question. Because she complains about everything. Why didn't she do it? That's all I ask. On day one, we're going to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to close the border, and we're going to let people come in, but they're going to come in legally. They're going to come into our country legally. But on day one, we're going to do many things. You know, I can do a lot of things at one time. But the questions often is, what's the first thing you're going to do? I would say we have a tie. We're going to close the border. We're going to stop the millions of people coming in, and we're going to take all of the criminals that have come in, and we know every one of them. I know. And the local police know better than anybody else. They're going to work with us. I've spoken to a lot of the sheriffs, every police, virtually every law enforcement group in America has endorsed Trump. I don't think anybody's endorsed Kamala. Not one. I don't think anybody's endorsed him. And you know that better than anybody. In Florida, all over California, they've endorsed me. We have the relationship I have with law enforcement. And these are great people and people that we have to really cherish and respect and let them do their job and protect them. And you'll always have a bad apple in everything. You have bad apples as reporters. That I can tell you many. I'd say about 80%. But you're always going to have bad apples. But you're going to have very few when you look at it. Very few. You have to let them do their job. You have to protect them. But basically, we're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get the energy prices down almost immediately. And we're going to close the border. And we're going to get the crooked ones out, the bad ones out. And we're going to let a lot of people come in because we need more people, especially with AI coming and all of the different things. And the farmers need, everybody needs. But we're going to make sure that they're not murderers, killers, drug dealers, and the kind of people that we have largely coming in right now. Okay?
Everybody had a lot to say when Trump was in the White House. Anybody got shit to say with this fucking old-ass bum in there? Fucking up our fucking country, fucking up the economy. These motherfuckers projected that we were going to have 1 million new jobs, 200,000 new jobs. And where the fuck are they at? Probably 200,000 illegal immigrants that you motherfuckers piled up at the border got new jobs, but we don't. We hurting in America.
Communities is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy.
I have a friend who had a Christmas party, Christmas Eve every year, and she asked me to make the greens for her party every year. And I am not lying to you that I would make so many greens that I'd need to wash them in the bathtub.
It comes from those experiences. We said to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land.
The immigrants can come into this country and get a stipend, link, a free room and board, free child care, and some of them are getting Social Security. And when my ancestors were released from slavery, they got the clothes on their back. But yet they were told to be happy. So why am I and everyone in this country footing the bill for people who are non-Americans, who don't vote, who don't fight in any of our wars, who've never paid a tax? And we're told that if we say anything, we're xenophobic. Tell me why. Tell us all why. I want to know.
I think it's wrong. I mean, it shouldn't happen, but this is a U.S. immigration system we have that is...
One eternity later.
After 4 years of an open border, record high inflation, and woke ideology pushed on us from every angle, Americans sent President Trump to Washington with a mandate to restore American greatness.
The good news is that America's back. At the Heritage Foundation, we're celebrating all that President Trump and his team have accomplished in just 100 days in office.
From securing the border to protecting women and girls in sports.
From banning DEI in the federal government to saving taxpayers billions through Doge.
President Trump is doing exactly what he promised Americans.
I understand that on day one, you're going to be signing a flurry of executive orders. Can you give me just what are the top ones people should know about?
A lot will have to do with economics. A lot's going to have to do with energy. A lot's going to do with having to do with the border. We're going to immediately strengthen up the border and do a real job. And some of the basics.
As I pointed out to Jim, Trump has succeeded. He has shut the border down. There are no border crossings virtually happening.
Beyond this point will result in the arrest, prosecution, and possible application of force. Advertencia. Esta es una área de exclusiva federal. Fuera de los límites del personal no autorizado. De entrada, el movimiento no autorizado más allá de este punto dará lugar a la detención, al procesamiento y la aplicación posible de la fuerza. Personnel. Unauthorized entry or movement beyond this point will result in the arrest.
How else have they been able to get these numbers down so dramatically low?
Maurice, I'm going to tell you something that I heard today from an immigration attorney dealing with all kinds of cases. Just Trump being in office is deterrence enough. But there have been dozens of policies and actions from the Trump administration, from trying to stop refugee resettlement to ending the appointments that tens of thousands of people had to make their case for asylum, to ending visa programs, parole. And the impact is felt throughout the hemisphere. Last week, I heard from a Panamanian government official who told me that now their country is dealing with reverse migration, people heading back down south from those who historically had tried to head up north to the United States.
U.S. Supreme Court, the president has notched a win a moment ago. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to revoke the temporary legal status for hundreds of thousands of immigrants. Now, they come from 4 countries: Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti, and Nicaragua. They came into the country through an app that was established during the Biden presidency years. And for the moment, it appears that the Trump team, they've made it their objective to deport those who came in illegally. This would be a win for the administration, handed down by the U.S. Supreme Court just a few minutes ago.
Well, I'm going to make the argument that the crime rates are down. I'm going to make the argument that now, once they started addressing the border crisis, which was ignored for the first 3 years, that you do have border crossings down substantially. It's getting up to 55, 60% down.
Law and order is back in America under President Trump. And on that same note, there are new crime statistics that show crime is plummeting. In fact, Politico summed it up like this. Murder rates are tumbling across the U.S. in 2025. Homicide stats are down at least 20% over last year. And we could be on course for the lowest number on record. With President Trump in charge, the days of criminals being put over victims are over.
I want to go back to those military flights going south. As you said, we have never seen that before. Is that going to be a constant commitment from the U.S. military every single day to take deportees out?
Yes.
So is this what we will see every single day, ending in what the president has promised is millions and millions being deported?
Yes. But you're going to see the number steadily increase, the number of arrests nationwide as we open up the aperture. Right now it's concentrating on public safety threats, national security threats. That's a smaller population. So we're going to do this on priority base, as President Trump's promised, but as that aperture opens, there'll be more arrests nationwide.
When you talk about the aperture opening, the estimates of perhaps those who have been convicted or arrested in the past, 700,000 to over 1 million. So after you do that, then you go after everybody who is there illegally.
If you're in the country illegally, you're on the table, because it's not okay to violate laws of this country. You got to remember, every time you enter this country illegally, you violated a crime under Title 8 United States Code 1325. It's a crime. So if you're in the country illegally, you got a problem. And that's why I'm hoping those who are in the country illegally who have not been ordered removed by the federal judge should leave.
I think we had the greatest 100 days in the history of our country for an administration. I think we've done more. We've gotten rid of woke. We're strengthening up our military. Inflation's down. All costs are down. Energy's down. Gasoline's down. I don't think there's ever been a better opening 100 days.
We secured a historic agreement to establish the United States-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund. He secured the border in record time and ended the mass invasion of tens of millions of illegal aliens into our homeland. The president championed a historic Doge effort that saved nearly $200 billion already. He ended Joe Biden's reckless war on American energy. He ended Joe Biden's disastrous EV mandate and promoted true consumer choice. He terminated radical DEI preferencing and federal contracting. He ended Joe Biden's trampling of free speech rights and the federal government's censorship of American speech on online platforms. He made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two sexes, male and female. President Trump ended forcing women to compete against men in sports, historic trade deals, budget deals, and peace deals.
Secure our values, our culture, and our way of life. Hiring, recruiting, retention, promotion, training based on race and sex. Title 6, 7, and Title 9 of our Federal Civil Rights Code.
See you guys later.
It has been just 100 days.
I was saved by God to make America great again.
A presidency like no other. Norms upended.
The chainsaw for bureaucracy.
Allies shocked.
Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be our 51st state. We need Greenland for national security.
And shafted.
You're gambling with World War III.
Moments no one predicted.
Trump Gaza, #1.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip. We'll own it.
And the tariffs.
I'd like to see the chart if you have it.
Everyone predicted them, but it didn't soften the blow.
China, first row.
Until he U-turned.
They were getting yippy,
Migrants removed, with court-defying deportations. In every way, for the delighted and the disgusted, this has been a truly consequential 3 months.
I was permanently injured at the hands of a man when I was forced to play against him in a high school volleyball game.
I'm just very excited that the Trump administration is taking action to protect girls.
We're fighting for the next generation.
Do you believe deploying the military to conduct law enforcement on U.S. soil is legal?
Look, we have to make certain that we protect American cities. If not for President Trump, Los Angeles would be burning right now. We had 6 ICE agents that were totally in fear of their life because local officials, an incompetent mayor, a grossly incompetent governor, refused to do their job.
Is there anything you would not find acceptable for the U.S. military to do on U.S. soil?
Look, President Trump understands what the Constitution is. He understands what the laws are. We have to protect our cities. We have to protect our ICE agents. We have to protect our federal buildings. And Gavin Newsom should maybe get off Twitter and start actually going down to L.A. and protecting his own citizens.
The courts have ruled on the Guard. They will be back under my command.
A few moments later.
Okay, why is Trump back in control of the National Guard, you guys? What the hell is going on? First I lose my pool boy Roberto, and now this? I seriously need a mani-pedi right now. A bottle of wine, cherry ice cream, and a whole season of Will and Grace. Fuck this politics thingy.
What's actually happening is they're buying voters. That's really what's happening. It's like a giant voter fraud scam. They're importing voters. It's easy to understand if you look at basic incentives. The basic incentive here is the more illegals that the Democrats can bring in, the more likely they are to win. So that's what they're going to do. That's what they have been doing, and it worked in California. California's supermajority Dem. And look at all the companies that are leaving California.
Yeah.
I mean, In-N-Out just announced they're leaving.
Yep.
Their headquarters leaving California.
They're moving to Tennessee.
A fourth day of rallies and protests on the streets of Los Angeles.
It was a peaceful rally. What is going on right now is also peaceful.
Here we are expecting rallies later on.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger. In Los Angeles, there is a new crowd of protesters that has been building.
CNN had it that these were rallies. Now they've become protests. I'm afraid that by tonight they become riots. If we don't have the ability to stand up and stop this violence before it consumes a great city like Los Angeles, then there's no telling where this could spread.
Hardworking, good people, and they're the backbone of our city, and they should have access to all the things that we have access to. And I just don't think they understand that it's a political pawn. I don't think they understand
it's a political game.
This is not done for compassion and kindness.
No.
This is just done to ensure that it stays blue.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's essentially a bribery with your tax dollars.
Yes, this is why the Dems will not even deport criminals.
Yeah.
Because every criminal deported is a lost vote.